to just another chapter in a journey, the journey of an artist, a musician, and at the same time somebody who's out here for freedom in this world. So this video is being launched to discuss, to share someone who I learned a lot from, and who has influenced me as not only somebody who makes music, but somebody who pursues truth and freedom in the world. And one thing leads to another, and now we are in the preparation of a Natural Law Music Festival, a festival that is trying to aspire to launching a soundtrack of freedom, showing the beats, the rhythms of nature, all of this building on the momentum of the philosophy of freedom and natural principles. And now, as it is a lot of us musicians, music lovers who are in this circle, we now have to kind of be where the rubber meets the road and show and introduce some of that music. So in this video, I'm sharing something that is not a song of my own, but someone that I consider the greatest rapper of all time. It's definitely up there. Somebody who's been doing this since the 70s, recording since the 80s up until now, put out an album this year, KRS-One. Knowledge reigns supreme over nearly everyone. As I've grown older, it's interesting. This song that I'm going to talk about, Squash All Beef, it was not one of my favorites. I like the hook didn't really hit right with me. It wasn't until I got older. It's funny how you get older and these things change. And then I really got into dance halls and saw this stage show Jamaican sound system influence of KRS-One's music that I always liked. Like we heard it on Sound of the Police and all that, and The Bridge Is Over. But it was later when I understood it. Now, the reason I choose Squash All Beef is because about the content of the message. This is one of the strongest songs of all time. And as we get close to this conference, it's really this festival, not conference, although this is building on the momentum of the Freedom Under Natural Law Conference. I want to share some of my path and the path of somebody who I see, similar footsteps, breaking down all of the societal conventions and rules and being different and relentlessly walking towards what is right, and at the same time having a great fucking time doing it. So to play this song, there's no music video, so I figured I'll let you see it, right? So as you listen to this, I'm gonna rock together with you. So let's do it. This festival will have live music and pre-recorded. So why not have a couple of warm-ups, and let you see how we're trying to rock and enjoy and get in the groove.
I sing, give me relief, squash all beef. Don't let these arguments destroy us. I sing, give me relief, squash all beef. Don't let these arguments destroy us. Check it. All beef can be squashed if you want it, but instead of forgiveness, ego you flaunt it. Everybody gets into 2 or 3 quarrels, leading to a squabble. Someone will die tomorrow. Life is not a thing you can borrow. All beefs don't have to lead to sorrow. We all blow out tomorrow. I think you should think about the beef you got and confront your enemy before it gets too hot. Never feel ashamed to say, yo, G, I'm sorry. I apologize. The object is to stay alive. I never ran from the Ku Klux Klan, and I shouldn't have to run from a black man.
I never ran from the Ku Klux Klan, and I shouldn't have to run from a black man.
Give me relief, squash all beef. Don't let these arguments destroy us. I sing, give me relief, squash all beef. Don't let these arguments destroy us. He said, she said, but she said she didn't. Face gets hit and then bullets start spitting. No one's admitting to their wrongdoing, unfitting. Revenge we're pursuing, look at what you're doing. Listen, release the karma that you're carrying. Be a mental vegetarian, indulge original beefs like the fish in the aquarium. You'll enjoy it while you're trying it. There is no separation between the mind and the environment. Like a bolt of lightning, I'm giving 5,000 volts of the occult while I'm writing and reciting. I've come to enlighten black and white to their meaningless fighting. Clash of the titans ain't right, and it's wrong, so the song reflects. For too long we've been vexed at each other, every sister, every brother. You got to love one another. I never ever ran from the Ku Klux Klan, and I shouldn't have to run from a black man.
I never ever ran from the Ku Klux Klan, and I shouldn't have to run from a black man.
Yeah, give me relief, squash all beef. Don't let these arguments destroy us. Check it, give me relief, squash all beef. Don't let these arguments destroy us. Give me relief. That's right, squash all beef. If I ruled the schools from pole to pole, the entire judicial system would fold. I would get rid of the books cause they bogus. And in school, knowledge of self would be the focus. Kids would flock to the schools like locusts. Cause school now relates to them, and you would notice violence in society would be a minimal. Cause the education here would now be metaphysical. Not living by laws, but living by principle. If you disobey, the universe gets with you. We would study giving so no one would steal. And we would read each other's magnetic fields. Petty crimes times petty crimes equal prison for lifetimes. The universe divided by 2 equals me and you. Me and you go into the universe once, or as one united front. But listen up, when I was growing up in hip-hopping, we had a thing called jailhouse boxing. That's why I'm still here rocking, cause my competition never pulled the clock in. Yeah, give me relief, squash all beef. Don't let these arguments destroy us. I sing, give me relief, squash all beef. Don't let these arguments destroy us. Yeah, give me relief, squash all beef. Don't let these arguments destroy us. I sing, give me relief, squash all beef. Don't let these arguments destroy
There you go.
us.
So-
What up, Sidat X?
Then I'm gonna go line by line and tell you what that means to me and how that influences me from this journey. You know, we all make it against the odds to be people who are trying to put knowledge out there to free the world from what is going on. You know, we're in a battle. It is truly like the Spartans 300. It's completely against odds, you know. But we're here. We could have been gone already, but we're here. So this is why I never been a musician my life. I just you know, I never had the ambition to be somebody who rocks the mic. But then you know, I enjoyed it so much, and I say, why not? And I started freestyling in the car with friends, and then eventually people kept saying, you got to get in the studio, and now I think, why did I even ever doubt myself? And I think that's kind of a lesson. That's kind of a starting point. You know, why do we even doubt ourselves? Why do we not try to do the things we love? It's crazy. All beef can be squashed if you want it, but instead of forgiveness, ego you flaunted, is what he says. You know, the world's suffering is self-inflicted. We exist in all this uncertainty and exploitation and lifelong labor to a person we don't even know. But it's really not even because of their power. It's because of the power vacuum. We do this because of us creating our mutual self-destruction. Being around people who cause us harm and not help. I used to hang around people that were just negative, and I was negative. It wasn't their fault, it was mine. I was just as negative as they are. And this is the kind of environment that you're in, that when somebody disrespects you or something, you know, people used to have duels. You know, you have to fight for your reputation, your name, right? And people die like this all the time just because of ego, right? So this hits very close to home for me, but I love this is a strong message of peace, right? It's a message of peace, but it's not a there's no surrender anywhere in this song. But that doesn't mean you don't apologize. Never feel ashamed to say, yo, G, I'm sorry. I apologize. The object is to stay alive. It makes you think, like, what is real strength and real victory? Like, is it just that moment of standing over somebody just like yourself, and watching them fall? Like, is that real victory? Because whatever beef you were in with somebody, because that's what we're talking about. I never even broke down the title. It's Squash All Beef. Beef, of course, being a word. And I'm not talking about beef literally, but it's the conflicts between people. But really, it is that word beef. We use it for a reason, and maybe I'll get to it in this video. We'll see. But that beef, was it a real clash of values? Was it like an eternal battle of principles? Usually, no. Usually, that's not what it is. Usually, you and the person you're fighting with, you're fighting this person, you want to hurt each other. Usually, you two are interchangeable. We see this all the time. You watch a video of some street fights, it's usually, do you ever get a clear good guy and a bad guy? It seems like they're people that are generally in the same kind of situations. It's an exception and a rarity when you do see two people fight or shoot at each other where one is totally in the right and one is in the wrong. I love when that happens, but it's very rare. Usually people from similar backgrounds, similar circumstances. So wouldn't the real victory be in how you live your life and not letting this person tear you down? You know, you kill him and you go to jail, or even if you don't go to jail, you have to live with taking this person off the earth for something stupid. You know, everything you have and can have potentially is being taken away because of this moment of conflict, you know? He says, release the karma that you're carrying. Be a mental vegetarian. Indulge in no beefs like the fish in the aquarium. So he's bringing up two things. One is the motif of weight, being a mental vegetarian. And this is why it is really beef. Because when you're eating beef, you're consuming the life essence of a living being, someone that was breathing the same air as you. He was eating the same things as you, and what made up the matter of their body, right? The constitution of their body. You're consuming it, taking it into yourself. That's beef. Beef is where you're consuming someone who's just like you. You know, one lives and one dies, and consuming the one that was defeated. And that comes with a weight. If you eat a lot of beef, you're going to be sluggish. So this is like the weight, the consequences, the burden of the consequences of your actions. And I ask, you know, why do we spend time doing things that bring us down? This weight, you know, whether it's lying and keeping up these facades in societal life. One is weight that he talks about, but when he says the fish in the aquarium, as opposed to the beef eaters, it's detachment. He's talking about detachment. Underwater, there's no detachment, and it's very clear underwater that the things living in the sea, they're peaceful and connected. Of course, you got your sharks and killer whales, but that idea of the medium is there, and you could see it. See, would we really do this violence to each other if we just remembered that we're connected to this person who stands across from us? It's not a stranger. But mental vegetarian, what a phrase. I love that one. Later he says there is no separation between the mind and the environment. This non-separation, non-detachment worldview is something that I think is amazing. But back to beef, these conflicts with our neighbors and peers, it's really a reflection of an inner mental conflict, right? If there's no separation between the mind and the environment, if we're fighting with people who are just like us, doesn't that mean we're fighting with ourselves? And that's the reason for all the conflict? Now, you know, is that to say that there's no such thing as a time to kill? Of course not. There is a time to kill. But that's not what beef is, you know. That term beef is, we're talking about clearly petty conflicts. like drama over girls, like divide and conquer. And this is why I haven't mentioned it yet. That line about I never ran from the Ku Klux Klan. It feels awkward saying it, right? Because I'm a white guy. But what that means, it's from, I believe, Kool It's from Self Destruction, Kool Moe Dee. But that line is about not falling to divide and conquer. Because if we're not afraid of the agents, the government, the tyrannical groups, the gangs trying to rule over us, then why would we run from somebody just like us? It's divide and conquer that he's talking about. It's not just racial, but I hope you could see that this is absolutely not limited to just ghetto everyday living. This is all of us, okay, no matter where you're from, where you live. And when he says, I've come to enlighten black and white to their meaningless fighting, I don't think that's talking about black and white as racial. He's talking about the occult. He mentioned the occult. This is actually him talking about the eternal universal principles, the pillar of Jachin and the pillar of Boaz. It's not good versus evil, not right versus wrong that he's talking about with their meaningless fighting, but it's those pillars of mercy and severity fighting against each other, like mother and father fighting against each other. And that's how we are controlled. See, we are divided internally, so that when the time comes for compassion and warmth, we don't know when it is. And then when the time is to reject and resist, we don't know where that time is either. And that beef is internal. See, the beef is actually in the mind. It's internal. And it's never going to end. And that's why the ruling classes create that division within us. They want a perpetual conflict. It's a perpetual conflict for a perpetual control. Okay? This is KRS-One going to the deepest roots, is why I choose this song. And that last verse it's about education. It's about moral education, as opposed, of course, he contrasts it with the judicial system. So he's talking about moral education as a solution to crime and violence and everyday social issues. Does that sound familiar? It's no hyperbole when I say this. Like, KRS-One was my first teacher of natural law. This is somebody teaching natural law in 1995, like 14 years before Mark Passio comes around. It's remarkable. Not that nobody didn't know this before, but laying it down specifically, let's go through it again. If I ruled the schools from pole to pole, the entire judicial system would fold. In school, knowledge of self would be the focus. Violence in society would be a minimal, because the education would be metaphysical. Not living by laws, but living by principle. If you disobey, the universe gets with you. He's actually tracing the roots of violence and conflict down to the worldview that we took on as children. Causal factors. And we today call it natural law, but it's principles. He says it this way because it's not another man that's the ruler over you. It's a cosmic principle that is going to judge you at the end, not a literal judge or an executioner. But seeing that ruler as another man, that's what creates the beef. But the truth is, it won't be somebody else coming to fight you. You'll be fighting yourself. But this ending, though, is my favorite part. The ending is the best. Listen up, when I was growing up in hip-hop, and we had a thing called jailhouse boxing, and that's why I'm still here rocking, because my competition never pulled a Glock in. And this is something that's been a focus of his music. Like, one of these, it's been a total goal of the crusade. It's to take down that portrayal. There in hip hop, there's a portrayal. There's an image of peace and love and knowledge being soft. That's another quote from a KRS-One song. That it's somehow weak or not masculine to want to compromise, to want to be a diplomatic in conflicts and avoid wars, to not just be seeking perpetual wars, but in rap music, there's this idea it's hyper masculine, but it's not truly masculine. It's just about rejection of any vulnerability. And I have fallen into this myself. I probably have like 70 songs released, probably recorded more than 100 at this point. And the vast majority of what I've done, what I used to record, is just this type of music. It was just about what you would expect: drugs, guns, and I actually tried to live this lifestyle out. I did live this lifestyle out for years and years of my life, like most of my late teens, early 20s. That's what I did. Like, I wanted to be this kind of a character, rejecting any vulnerability, rejecting following any sorts of rules whatsoever, but not truly living by principles. See, everybody who listens to rap music who has ever listened to it, it's rebellious music. Rap is supposed to be intelligent, rebellious music. It's supposed to be cut from the cloth of Thomas Paine, Common Sense, Patrick Henry, if there must be war, let it come. Give me liberty or give me death. Like that's rap. They're rapping there, the American revolutionaries. But instead, in music today, we have so much death and conflict within music, like tearing down other artists. All these greatest artists, they die young, or they sell themselves out, right? They fall out with their band members, or they descend into addiction, and that's how we remember them. And the record companies, scrape all the profits and all the royalties, leaving nothing for the family. That's what's happened with music. But what we're trying to do with this festival now, that you could look forward to in this fall, is genuine music for genuine musicians, from genuine musicians. It's not just about the sound, it's that the sound is cohesive and cannot be separated. It goes hand in hand with a philosophy, and not in a dogmatic way, but it's backed up by the authenticity, that what creates that sound is the love for nature, for freedom. So this is the whole point, and each one of us had a path that they took to get them there. And the reason I made this video is a bit of a promotional kind of like early look at what I'm going to bring to this festival that is really evolving. It's going to evolve as far as the name, the strategy, as we get closer to it and see how it forms and takes shape. This is my path. This is the sound path. The sound path that I took to come to this universal song of natural law. So you could look forward to more of that, and I won't be the only one. Shout out to everybody who has invited me. Shout out to everybody who's involved, who has ever invited me to be involved and encouraged me to contribute, to use my voice. Gratitude is a big part of what brought me here, what we're doing. Of course, each one of us sees it in our own way. So I appreciate you joining me. I feel like this could go on forever. I'm going to put together some music, put together some promotional materials, and this is just kind of an early look at what you can expect. Yeah. Thanks so much, and see you next time.
I get copper, bust at the chopper. I got that thing you light up with the copper. Still got that exotic like Malta. Real time traveling, bit of nostalgia. Don't wanna blow up on TikTok. My name is